If you're struggling to win gunfights, this video is going to give you our 10 best tips to get better aim inside Warzone. Whether you've been playing the game since launch or if you just started playing today, this video is going to have tips for everyone. If you enjoy learning about the secret tips and tricks of Warzone and you like to see weapon stat breakdowns and weapon comparisons, subscribe to our channel as we're trying to reach our goal of 10,000 subscribers, and we give you all this information so you can become a better Warzone player. So the first tip for getting better aim is to center your screen. What that means is you want to focus your screen on an area where you believe enemies to be coming from. If you're pushing a building, for example, you want to focus that little crosshair dot on a window or a doorway where enemies could be holding you from or even could be coming out of. Or let's say you're pushing a hill, you want to focus your aim at the top of the hill because that's where enemies could be coming from. The benefit of doing this is when you aim down sights and spot an enemy, your aim is already adjusted to where their position is, and that means you can fire straight away and you don't need to adjust your aim to acquire your target. The next tip is to make sure you've got the correct loadout and the correct build for your weapon. Now we've got a lot of videos already on the channel explaining each individual build for a lot of different weapons, so if you need to know what the best class setups are, you can click on one of those videos. This just makes sure you're getting the most out of your weapons and you're using them in the correct situation, and you've also got other weapons that complement your primary gun. It's ridiculous the amount of times I see people running around with either 2 short range weapons or 2 long range weapons in their loadout. You need to have a good balance in your loadout to make sure you can take on a close range gunfight as well as a long range gunfight. If you want to know what the best guns are and the best class setups for them, subscribe to our channel as we cover a lot of the different weapons, going over the stats of each individual gun to explain exactly how they work. So the next tip is once you've selected a gun you like with the best class setup, you need to learn the recoil of that gun. It's extremely important you do this to make sure you're landing consistent shots. Every gun in Warzone has a specific recoil pattern that you can learn, and a lot of pro players know how to do this for multiple different guns. So what you want to do is you want to go inside a private game or even go inside Plunder, find a clean wall where you can see the recoil pattern of your gun, shoot it one time and see what the recoil pattern looks like, and then try and adjust for this recoil and see how accurate you can make your gun. Now this is going to take a lot of practice, and it's taken me a long time to get used to the recoil pattern of many different guns. But once you can do it for some of the highest recoil guns like the FFAR1, you can see on screen now that after only 2 tries, I can make this gun almost a laser beam. And you can do the exact same thing too with just a little bit of practice. Now if you are struggling to control the recoil of your guns, try switching to a low recoil gun like the Grau, the Kilo or the Bruin, and that should make it a little bit easier for you to hit your shots. The next tip is a very important one, which is picking the correct optic as well as the correct reticle. Now the reticle is something people miss out quite a lot with their guns, and I feel like this is one of the really important things to make sure you can see an enemy clearly. And I pretty much never choose the base reticle for any of the optics. For all of your Modern Warfare guns, I would highly recommend the Corp Combat Holo Sight. This is a great optic for medium to medium long range gunfights. It's not really good for extremely long range because you're not getting a huge magnification, but it is a clean optic. If you use your assault rifles or SMGs at close range, the GI Mini Reflex is one of the cleanest optics you can get in the entire game. If you want to be getting involved in those long range gunfights inside Warzone, you have to be using the VLK 3x optic. This is the most popular optic for Warzone. If you want an alternative to the Corp Combat Holo, the PBX Holo is a great option as well. For your Cold War guns, similar to the VLK, the Axial Arms 3x optic allows you to get in those long range gunfights with your assault rifle. This is one of the cleanest optics for the Cold War guns. Then we have the Microflex LED, which is similar to that GI Mini Reflex. If you're using your gun at close range, this is the one you should be using. Lastly, if you like holo sight optics, the Celix Holo Scout is another great option for the Cold War guns. Like I said, choosing your reticle is just as important as choosing your optic. So if you're choosing the Axial Arms 3x for your Cold War guns, you either want to be using the Hunter reticle or the Precision reticle. These are the 2 cleanest reticles for that optic. Then for the Celix Holo Scout, you want to be using the Delta reticle. This is one of the cleanest reticles for the Cold War guns. If you don't have a blueprint variant that's actually better than this is the one I would recommend you unlock. For your Modern Warfare holo sights, you want to be using the Blue Dot. That is one of the cleanest in the entire game, and a lot of people like using this because it doesn't clutter your screen and it's easier to see. Lastly, for the VLK optic, The base reticle is not too bad, but if you do have the time, I would highly recommend unlocking the T-Post reticle. This is the cleanest that you can get for the VLK. Just a bonus tip on top of this, a lot of the guns inside Cold War as well as Warzone have different iron sights depending on which blueprint variant you've got. Now we already have a video on the channel going over all of the Modern Warfare blueprint iron sights, and we will be making a video going over all the Cold War ones as well, so make sure you subscribe for that. But make sure when you are using your guns and you're not using an optic that you have got the cleanest iron sights available to you. The next few tips are based around your settings and making sure you've got the right settings to land all of your shots. Just keep in mind these settings work for me and could work differently for you depending on your playstyle and the hardware you're using. So for example, if you're using a different controller or an older controller that does have a bit of stick drift, you're going to want to have different settings to what I have here. The first thing you want to make sure is that you have your dead zone set to make sure you don't get any stick drift with your analog stick. Personally, I have my horizontal and vertical stick sensitivity set to 6 when my controllers are new. Then I bump it up to 7 when my controllers get a bit older and I have to increase that dead zone. Your low zoom multiplier you want to be 0.85 to make sure you can get fine adjustments, and your high zoom multiplier you want to be 1.1. This ensures you get those smooth sniper rifle shots. Your aim response curve you want to be dynamic, and I'll show exactly why in just a moment. And then for your aim assist you want to set that to standard. I've just found this works best. A lot of people don't know what the dynamic response curve allows you to do in this game, and it's very important. In this clip on screen, you'll see me snapping from one target to the next target very quickly, and that's what the aim response curve allows you to do. If you have the standard aim response curve, it's going to be much slower transitioning from one target to another target, whereas dynamic makes this much smoother and makes it look like you're playing with keyboard and mouse. This is a setting a lot of pro players use, so try and get used to it, and once you do, you can't go back. This last settings change is for PC only, and what you want to do is make sure your aim down sight field of view is set to affected. It means that you get the full benefit of having that higher field of view. Another tip that's going to allow you to win many more gunfights inside Warzone is pre-firing. Now pre-firing means that you shoot before you know an enemy is going to enter a certain area. Let's say an enemy is behind cover and they're going to need to move away from that cover. You should already have your crosshairs set at where they're likely to move, and then that means you can start firing straight away once they start running to that location. This is especially important with sniper rifles or semi-automatic rifles where you need to be very precise with your shots. A lot of players use this trick when you're using a sniper rifle because you can predict where the enemy's head's going to be, and it allows you to land many more headshots doing this. But there's nothing stopping you doing the same trick with assault rifles. So that is it. That is our 8 big tips on getting better aim inside Warzone. If this video has helped you out, don't forget to leave us a like as it helps us get recommended more. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe as we're trying to reach our goal of 10,000 subscribers, and we've got a lot more videos planned in the coming days and weeks. Thank you very much for watching.